sane. And he says, I will not conform. So part of our verbal text is the refusal to conform. He says, in fact, it is madness to conform. He blames corporations. And he blames corporations for saying that if we don't conform, then we are abnormal. And rather, they are the crazy ones demanding conformity. Right. We've done a lot of work. We haven't even got to the discussion, nor have we got to the character. So do all of this in your head and say, okay, what does it show me about his character? He is assertive. He is dominant. He's in control. He is sure of himself. He is, what, stubborn? I will not conform. I will not do what I'm expected to do. I consider that madness. Right, so what would I do? Do all of this in my head, and then I would choose some of it. So let's say I want to say that he is an assertive character, and we can see this by the pointed finger, the angry open mouth. I think that's enough. That he is determined, so I'm going to take out dominant. I want another word, that he is determined to express his opinion. I don't want to say assert again, to express his opinion, which is that he refuses to accept that well-adjusted means sane, and he refuses to conform because he says it is insanity to conform. Right, now I think I've done more than enough for 3 marks, but notice the question word said discuss. So what would I discuss about him? I would say that he is well aware of the pressures brought to bear on members of society to conform, and that a person who refuses to conform can be rejected, can be seen or labeled, let's say labeled as insane rather than an individual. Look, it's a massive amount to do. You're going to have to choose, but try to make sure you touch on visual, verbal, character, and discuss. Now we've got, go back to my, where's my, critically assess. What am I critically assessing? The logic of what he says in frame 4. So let's start with the logic. He says, no, no, not at all. Keep telling people that. What? This is this weird, bizarre idea about rubbing peanut butter on your chest. Now, it came from his little friend who has been behind him. That's another part of the visual that we could have mentioned. And you've got to decide why he's changed his mind. So there is no logic, because his friend, I don't want to say crazy, but you must admit it is really very odd. So his friend expresses something that is crazy. It's clearly not conforming. So he doesn't conform to ideas of what we should rub on our chests and whether or not we believe in monsters. So the logic is sustained, if you like. He is maintaining his logic. Why? Because he is supporting the idea of he's supportive of his friend, do not conform, do not do what you're expected to do. But there is an illogicality in his backing down, because he has been asserting his right to express his opinion. And clearly his opinion is not, if we look at his face, just go back and look, he doesn't believe that his friend is not crazy. So he is now no longer asserting his right to express his opinion. Critically discuss, I would argue that it's because it's his friend and he doesn't want to hurt his friend. So this little boy who seemed so aggressive, he's in front, he's aggressive, he's assertive, he's angry, suddenly collapses. And the logic is sustained in that he's saying to his friend, go on expressing your weird, crazy ideas, but he himself no longer asserts his opinion. Whether or not that's conforming is up to you. Maybe you just want to consider it kindness. It's kind, it's thoughtful of his friend. But notice the critically assess. So we're looking at why is he illogical, or is he? Where is the logic and where is the logic lost? Remember, you're expressing your opinion, you support it from the text. Then if we look at this, the title of the passage was The Teen Struggle to Combat Conformity. And I wanted to look at this question, which is the comparative question. Here it's for 4 marks. So you're looking at the text A, text B question. And does one text support the other? Again, look at your question words so that you make sure. So does, no, that's not a nice color. Hang on. Does text B support provide? So we go back to the question, the keywords. Does text B support R? Specific paragraphs of text A, and they want a critical evaluation. So there's your critical thinking skills. How do I tackle this? Think of it as 2 marks over here and 2 marks over there. That's really what you're looking at. So let's have a look at paragraphs 10 and 11. I hope these are 10 and 11. However, it's not entirely the fault of teenagers that they feel the need to conform. So there's that idea. In today's world, there are numerous outside influences. What did we focus on in text B? Corporates. That put too much pressure on them, such as commercials, social media. However, conformity can be standing from their families. They might not feel such a huge need to conform to their friends or a certain clique. It's very important for parents to develop connections with their children, influence them in ways in which they're able to accept diversity, to empathize with others. You can see why I like that. To reject negative influences. You can see why I like that. Comfortable teens are able to develop the ability to make choices about what to think, how to act, also make individual decisions without feeling anxiety when those decisions do not conform to peer and societal norms. All right, so does one text support the other? Well, what did we have here? The cartoon showed us the little boy refusing to conform. So I didn't see him as a teen, but okay, children and teens. Are they able to make the choice not to conform? And text B shows the boy refusing to conform. Text A says that teens must be able to feel that they can refuse, right? They feel the need to conform, but they must be able to feel that they can refuse that need, that they can reject outside influences. I'd mentioned the corporates. And that if teenagers receive empathy and understanding, maybe they will be able to reject outside influences. So that takes me to the little boy with the peanut butter, because if he feels comfortable enough to say, no, I rub peanut butter on my chest, because he's given empathy and understanding, which is what we saw from the other little boy, so not from the parents, but from their friends, or maybe he's a family member. I doubt it though, because I think a brother would know what the younger brother does. I think this is a friend. But if they get empathy and understanding from their parents and their families, they'll be able to empathize with others and so create that supportive environment. So I think it does. But look at what we're doing. Does text A provide a critical evaluation? So we are doing a critical evaluation by looking at those two children. So I think it's important that you look at that comparative question and work out how you're going to tackle it. Moving on to the advert. So you will get an advert. There is our advert. And then they will rewrite that for you, generally, just in case you can't see it, but we can see it's only natural and no other ketchup tastes like Heinz. And then there it is, retyped for you so that you can see clearly. Let's have a look at the questions. Okay. Again, you're always going to highlight question words and keywords. So, what is the purpose of using, there's your keyword. It's only natural in the headline. Right, so if we have a look at our advert, what are we advertising? Well, obviously it's a tomato sauce. We can see the tomato, we can see the tomato plant. It's only natural. What is the purpose? Whether you are home language or FAL, please don't just stop and say to draw attention. Always say what you are drawing attention to. So take it that step further from a generic to capture the reader's attention, to capture the viewer's attention, to grab attention, to saying to grab attention to what? Okay, so what have we got? To the idea that this tomato sauce is as natural as possible. Why do we want natural? Because we associate natural with healthy and good for us, and it's not going to make us sick or ill or something like that. Right. Okay, just to say that we are aware of the picture issue for our TV and our app viewers. Please join us on YouTube at Mindset Learn while our technicians sort out the problem. So sorry about the picture issue. We're doing everything to get it right. Meanwhile, I'm going back to this picture. All right, so that's what it is. Let's just look at the question and see if we've done enough. It was the earlier one. Using natural in the headline, yes. So it is to draw attention to the fact that the tomato sauce is natural because we associate the idea of nature with healthy and good for us. So it is making us buy the product because we think that it's going to be good for us. Remember, the purpose of any advert is to make you buy. Right. The persuasive appeal of the slogan. So we go back and we're looking for the slogan. Right. No other ketchup tastes like Heinz. Okay, what is the emotive appeal? So let's go to where it's here and it's nice and big. No other. What does that suggest? That this particular tomato sauce is unique. By mentioning no other, we're being asked to compare this tomato sauce with all the competitors and to say that it is superior. Its quality is in a class of its own. And then you might also like to focus on tastes because it suggests that the experience will be flavorful and absolutely marvelous. So let's just go back and see. Yes, we've done plenty for 2 marks. Once again, we focus on our question word and then our keyword. It's how. It's how. The visual supports the message. And just to say that whether you are home language or FAL, please will you practice this because this comes up in all the exams, how does the visual support the message? So what you've got to start with is the overall message of the advert. And then we're looking at the visual, and then we're going to do the discussion. So we go back to our picture. I think we'll look at where it's retyped. What's the overall message? So you won't find anything artificial, no artificial thickness, no artificial preserve, no artificial